Kiss 106, all the heads. Welcome to the afternoon show with your boy Nino. It's time for Nino's movie review. And this week's movie review is of the new Sam Jackson movie, Glass, in theaters now, also starring Bruce Willis and James McAvoy. And this is the third installment of what I like to call the Unbreakable series. The first installment was Unbreakable, starring Bruce Willis, which was like the emergence, supposed to be the storytelling of the emergence of the first superhuman or super able or extra abled human. They make a lot of comic book references. I think that was M. Night Shyamalan. It was directed and produced by M. Night and then written by M. Night Shyamalan. And I think I'm not going to say I know it purposely makes a whole bunch of comic book references and trying to make comparisons between comic books and the way things happen in real life or in that movie's real life, according to Samuel L. Jackson, because Samuel L. Jackson was called Mr. Glass when he was a kid, by him having such brittle bones. He was diagnosed with a disease that had him such brittle bones, even the slightest little fall or tap caused him to have over 90 breaks and surgeries and things like that. So he had to find a way to make his mental capacity as strong as possible to compensate for the weakness of his body. And he's like he's the emergence of the first evil genius, like you like to say. I mean, and it's great how you see the story evolve. The Glass takes place about 15 years after Unbreakable, and then Unbreakable, then they're split. The second one stars James McAvoy as the guy who they called himself the Horde. He had over 20 different personalities inside of his one body that would like to come out, in different times, with one personality actually being in dominant control. Usually at all times, his main personality has been pushed to the back due to like his childhood trauma, childhood abuse and things. So he had to develop these personalities to the point where one personality called the Beast developed, and that personality actually transforms his body. And where he puffs up, the veins start bulging and everything. His neck kind of swells up, and he does a great transformation into the Beast, because it makes you think, is his body really changing, or is he really just huffing and puffing and just swelling up? And that's where the movie draws the fine line in between. Is it really a comic book superhero movie, or are these guys just really think they're superheroes, just doing some extraordinary stuff because of the adrenaline or the actual upper level intelligence that they might have? And that's what the doctor in the movie was trying to convince them of. That, when they all got caught up, Bruce Willis was on the hunt for the Beast in the movie, ends up catching the Beast. That's where you see it in the preview. And he ends up catching the Beast, but ends up getting caught and sent to the psychiatric ward, the same psychiatric ward that Samuel L. Jackson was being held in. So all three of the abnormal supposed superhero characters, supervillain characters, are in the same facility. And it's all part of Samuel L. Jackson's devious plan to make sure the world knows that there are extraordinary human beings among us. And that plot, the movie takes all kinds of crazy twists and turns, even to the point where you see, Bruce Willis and James McAvoy's characters fighting in the front yard of the psychiatric institute. And even the fight scene, you would think like, man, could two regular human beings actually fight like this, to the point where they're actually moving the vehicle with each punch? Could a real human being actually punch a van so hard that he would leave a handprint inside of the van? So it was whether or not they really believed if they were superhuman or abnormal or super intelligent, which made their powers, prevalent or come out or believe. Because Bruce Willis got to a point where he didn't believe in his powers for a second. He was even starting to doubt whether or not he was unbreakable, or the Ghost, as they called him, or the Overseer, as his nickname was given, because he was always at the right place, usually trying to protect those, who had some kind of wrong done to them. So it's a great third installment, a great roundup and wrap up. And the end of it, I'm not going to spoil the end of it for you, because the ending is absolutely fantastic. But it does take a while to wind up. I do hate that part about the movie. It takes such a long time to wind up, and I wish they would have found a way to kind of get the story going a little bit. It's a little over 2 hours long, I guess, from in first credits to end credits, but once the movie actually gets going and you see the plot start to unfold and everything, it really starts to hold your attention. So I still give, Glass 2 thumbs up, the third installment in the Unbreakable series. And if you haven't seen the first 2, Unbreakable with Bruce Willis and Sam Jackson, then Split, with James McAvoy basically and by himself throughout that movie, and then the third one, see those 2 before you see Glass, because it'll make it so much easier to make the connections and to follow along. And watch out for the little Easter eggs hidden throughout the whole movie. My wife even saw one of the Easter eggs at the end of the movie, and she was like, oh, she has one of blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, I didn't notice that. It's like, oh, yeah, they showed that in the beginning. That was probably where you fell asleep, because we both kind of almost dozed off in the beginning of the movie. It was so kind of slow to build up. But like I say, once it does build up, it actually turns into a great movie. So it is actually worth the money and worth the build up. Go see Glass, Samuel L. Jackson, James McAvoy, and Bruce Willis, the third installment in the Unbreakable series. It's your boy Nino, 106.1, Kiss 106.